Hello learners, welcome to BEDS 002, Week 2 Part 1. This week will be divided into 3 parts. In this particular week, which is Week 2, we will be discussing emotional development. In the first week 1, we had completed self-development. In self-development, we discussed what was physical development. We have discussed what was functional development. We also have discussed in terms of what were the various physical development, the various functional development, so on and so forth. So in week 1, we have completed self-development. In today's discussion, that is week 2, we will be discussing, like I said, emotional development, and this particular week will be divided into 3 parts. In part 1, we will be discussing meaning, expressions and perceptions of emotions. This particular week, like I said, will be divided into 3 parts. This part is meaning, expressions and perception of emotions. Throughout this week, which will be divided into part 3, we will be discussing what is emotional development. So let me start. What do we mean by emotions? Emotions are the most active movers of emotional development. The word emotion is derived from the Latin word emover, which means to agitate, to excite or to stir up. Several definitions of emotions have been given by the writers and researchers. Let me give you an example. For today's class, I was very excited to talk on this topic, and you can see through my body expressions or the way I am speaking, there is some level of excitement that you can see. My emotion is that of excitement because I like coming and taking classes and talking to you through this platform where I am here to discuss about emotional development. So I'm excited to come and deliver this lecture. So this is one expression of emotion, that is my emotion of excitement. I'm here wherein I have used or I am in this emotional state of excitement. So this is emotional expression of excitement. R.S. Woodward defines emotion saying that emotion is a moved or stirred up state of feeling. That is the way it appears to the individual himself. It is a disturbed muscular and glandular activity. That is the way it appears to an external observer. Another example, in the recently concluded Tokyo Olympics, we have 7 medals which India has won. And we have been this is the best performance that India had performed in so many years with regard to the number of medals we have won, and the gold medal which was won by Neeraj Chopra, where the whole country is so excited. There is this stirred up feeling of emotion, which is emotion of happiness, emotion of pride, and so on. So emotion, according to R.S. Woodward, who defines emotion as a moved or stirred up state of feeling. That is, in a way, it appears to the individual himself that there is a stir up state of feeling. There is certain, he is moved. There is this feeling of excitement. There is this feeling of happiness. Like I said, when Neeraj Chopra won the gold medal in athletics, or the pride we felt with the overall performance of India, where we won 7 medals in the recently concluded 2020 Tokyo Olympics. So there is this various emotions. These emotions are emotions of pride, emotions of happiness, emotions of emotions of excitement. So these are all the feelings that we feel, a stir up state of feeling. Then another way of defining emotion is an emotion is a complex condition underlying feelings, actions and physiological changes as it occur in fear, rage, excitement, disgust and so on. an emotion associated with an inherited or innate psychophysical tendency is called instinct. When we watch a movie, let's say we watch a movie which is in the genre of a thriller movie or a horror movie, there is some feeling of fear. Or, you know, when you are driving on the road, then there is a lot of traffic jam, and, you know, people on the road, people tend to overtake you on the wrong side. There is this feeling of rage, and at times you have this feeling of disgust, because some people may have harmed you verbally, have, you know, physically have harmed you. So all these are feelings which occurs within you. You can have feelings of fear, you can have rage, excitement, disgust, and so on. So this type of feelings, this type of emotion, when it is associated with an inherent or innate psychophysical tendency, is called instinct. Like we talk about, you know, a person having an maternal instinct, which means that, you know, when you see babies or when you see other people's children, you have a maternal instinct, which means you feel very motherly towards that particular children or that particular child. So this is called what is called instinct. You may have a maternal instinct, you may have so many other form of instinct. Instinct determines the emotional excitement and action in a person or perceiving any object in a particular manner. William McDougall analyzes an instinctive behavior in three aspects. So, when we are talking about instinct, which determines the emotional excitement and action in a person on perceiving any object in a particular manner. For example, like I said, I just gave you an example of when a person, let's say a lady sees a child or a lady sees some children, she feels very motherly towards those children or that particular child, which means that there is some kind of maternal instinct. So when we talk about instinct, William McDougall analyzes instinctive behavior in three aspects. These three aspects are cognitive, which is knowing or perceptive aspect. The second one is called affective or feeling or emotional aspect. And we have the third one, which is called cognitive or doing or behavior aspect. So these are the three aspects according to which William McDougall analyzes instinctive behavior. So what do we mean by cognitive aspect? Some cognitive skills are sustained attention, response inhibition, speed of information processing, cognitive flexibility and control, multiple simultaneous attention, working memory, category formation, pattern recognition. These are some cognitive skills. Then what are the affective aspect? What are the affective domain? These aspects involves feelings, attitudes and emotions. It includes the ways in which people deal with external and internal phenomena emotionally, such as values, enthusiasms and motivations. Let me repeat. We have discussed some of the points which identifies what are cognitive skills. Now we are moving to what is called your affective domain. What are your affective domain? Affective domain involves feelings, attitudes and emotions. It includes the ways in which people deal with external and internal phenomenon emotionally, such as values, enthusiasms and motivations. Let's say I am motivated to do a certain thing. I motivate myself to do certain things. So motivation, it is building this feeling or emotions within myself to complete a certain task by motivating myself, because I know that if I complete this particular task, I will be fulfilling my duty in certain aspect, and so on and so forth. Then there are certain level of enthusiasm. For example, I would like to complete a lesson in sign language. I would like to learn some sign languages, because I am very enthusiastic to learn sign languages, because it would be because I have always been interested in learning sign language. So the affective domain in this particular aspect would be my enthusiasm. That is, I am very enthusiastic to learn sign language, because I am excited to have this particular achievement of learning how to speak in sign language. So when we talk about affective domain, it involves feelings, attitudes, and emotions. Now, what is cognitive? We were talking about three aspects. We have discussed what is cognitive skills. Now we have also talked about affective domain. Now we will talk about what is cognitive. What is the cognitive aspect? Behavioral or cognitive component. What are they? What is it? It is the way, the attitude we have, which influence on how we act or behave. For example, I will avoid spiders and scream if I see one. I am afraid of spiders, or I am afraid of cockroaches, and I will scream if I see one. What is the component here? The component here is, what is the cognitive component? The cognitive component here is, it involves a person's belief and knowledge about an attitude or an object. For example, I believe spiders are dangerous. I believe that cockroaches are dangerous. So my behavioral component or my attitude is, when I see a spider or when I see cockroaches, I scream, because I have this attitude, I have this belief that the spiders or the cockroaches are dangerous. So when we talk about cognitive aspect, it is the behavioral aspect, or in a way it is an attitude we have on how we act or behave. So this is cognitive or the behavioral component. How do we express emotions? What do we mean by expressions of emotions? Emotions affect the body systems both inwardly and outwardly. Outwardly, the feelings cast their impression on face, voice, and posture, and inwardly, the feelings affect rate of breathing, pulse, blood pressure. Sometimes it causes heart and digestive problems. Let me repeat. How does one express emotions? Emotions or expression of emotions affect the body system both inwardly and outwardly. How does expressions of emotions affect the feelings outwardly? Outwardly, the feelings cast their the feeling which cast their impression are your face, your voice, or your posture. For example, I'm very excited to come and deliver this particular lecture. So you would see a lot of excitement on my face. You would see a lot of excitement on my voice or on my posture. The way I am delivering this particular lecture would be showing certain expression of emotions, because this is how you can see my feelings or emotions, the way I express outwardly through my face, through my voice, or through my posture, the way I move my hand, or the way I move my my head, and so on. Inwardly, you may not be able to see your expressions of emotions. You may not be able to see how emotions are expressed inwardly, but then the rate of breathing may increase. You may have high blood pressure, your BP may increase because of excitement, or because of feeling of anger, or because of you have this feeling of rage. And sometimes, because you have you may develop heart and digestive problems, because there are certain emotions which cannot be expressed outwardly, but inwardly you suffer because you are not able to express it, or you are feeling a lot of anger or rage inside, which may sometimes cause heart and digestive problems. So this is what is meant by expression of emotions. You express your emotions either inwardly or outwardly. What are the prominent features of emotions? The primary or basic emotion consists of 6 basic emotions, namely happiness, surprise, fear, sadness, anger, and disgust. Happiness is you are happy that the nation has won 7 medals in the recently concluded Tokyo Olympics. You are very happy. Then surprised because this is the first time after a long time that a lot of in a lot of categories that there were medal winners. Then fear in terms of fear of spiders, fear of snake. Sadness because you have lost someone, or you are not able to complete a certain task. Anger because you are on the road and somebody has overtaken you. You are angry at that person who has overtaken you while you are driving. And disgust means you are disgusted by the sight of so many waste lying around you, or you are disgusted with so many pollution which is surrounding you, and so on and so forth. So when we are talking about the prominent features of emotions, we are talking about 6 basic emotions, which are happiness, surprise, fear, sadness, anger, and disgust. So these are the 6 basic emotions. These 6 emotions may be conceptualized to exist on a continuum. The closer the 2 emotions are on this continuum, the more is the likelihood of confusion in recognizing them. So, at times, you may be happy and suddenly you may be sad. So, when 2 emotions like happiness and sadness are, in 1 second you would be very happy and in the next second you will be very sad. At this particular juncture, when you are having this feeling of happiness and sadness, when these 2 emotions are close, then there is a likelihood of confusion in recognizing them, because you have this sudden feeling of happiness and you have this sudden feeling of sadness. So you may not be able to recognize these particular feeling because they are so close to each other. You will be confused because thinking, what is this feeling? Is it happiness or is it sadness? Because in a second your happiness is going to turn into sadness. So when 2 emotions are very close to each other, then there is very likelihood of confusion in recognizing them. For example, the feeling of anger and disgust. You may feel angry while you are coming to office or while you are going to work. You are very angry because you forget something, a very important document at home, but then you are not able to go back. And then you have this feeling of disgust because you see a lot of waste materials lying on the road. So these 2 feelings, which is anger and disgust, are very close to each other. And when 2 emotions are very close to each other, there is this likelihood of confusion in recognizing them. For example, I'll give you another example. I have given you this example of happiness and sadness. I have given you a happiness or the expressions of anger and disgust, which are very close to each other, which is why you are very confused in recognizing them. Let's say another feelings of joy and surprise. You may have a feeling of joy because you are seeing a particular person after a long time, a friend who was your college friend. After so many years, you are seeing a particular person after so many years. So you have this feeling of joy, your college friends who you have met after 10 years. And then another feeling of surprise. You are surprised that there is there is certain things which tend to surprise you. Surprise in terms of you do not expect certain thing to happen. So this feelings of joy and surprise is also very close to each other. So you may be confused in recognizing the difference. So it is very difficult to distinguish between a feeling of joy and surprise or feeling of disgust and anger, but it is very easy to distinguish between feeling of happiness and disgust. So when we are talking of emotions, let me tell you, dear learners, there are certain emotions like joy, surprise, happiness, which are very close to each other. You are not able to distinguish between them, but at the same time there are certain emotions like anger, emotions like sadness, which are not very close to each other, so it is easy to distinguish between them. There may be different reactions to the same emotional stimuli. In some cases, it is a result of training and job requirement, and in some cases, it may be due to variation in temperament and personality. Let's say I am a person who is very emotional. I tend to express my emotions very quickly, and it is always visible on my face. I may be, through my expressions, you may be able to see how excited I am, how angry I am, or how happy I am, because my reaction, my emotional reaction can be seen on my face. But there are certain people who have certain personality. Some people may be different from me, because at times you may not be able to see through their behavior or through their expressions whether they are happy or sad, because there are certain cases, because of the result of their training or job requirement, or maybe in some cases it is their temperament, it is their personality, wherein you may not be able to see these emotions of feeling joy, anger or disgust, compared to other people who tend to wear their emotion on the sleeves, and wherein they tend to show their emotions very easily. Many people remain cool and tend to hide their feelings, while there are others who tend to spill their emotions quite often and remain agitated for quite a long time. So there are certain people who show their emotions very easily. They wear their emotions on the sleeves, and there are certain people who do not show their emotions. Their personality is such that they are, or their temperament is such that it is very difficult to make out what types of emotions they are actually feeling. Two persons, like I said, may react to the same stimuli differently. One may be brimming with excitement and joy, while the other may be more calm and cool. When it comes to children, they fail to hide their emotions. They express them in some indirect ways, like crying, nail biting, thumb sucking, stuttering, or speech breaks. So children are not able to hide their emotions so frequently compared to the adults. Different jobs and professions may demand different levels of intensity or emotional expression. A judge or a doctor may be expected to be emotionally neutral, while a sales executive or a waiter at a restaurant is expected to be enthusiastic and joyous. It is also seen that the emotions are sometimes transferred from one object to another. For instance, an officer scolds in office and the sufferer transfer it to his or wife or his children. So there are certain emotions which are transferred from one person or from one object to another. Let's say a particular employee gets a scolding from his or her employer, her director, her boss, her manager. So at home, because this particular person has received a scolding from his boss, then the feeling will be transferred to his or her family members back at home. He or she may shout at his children or his or her spouse, because this feeling has been transferred from the scolding he or she has got from the office to his or her family. So in today's class, dear learners, we have talked about expressions of emotions. We have talked about what are the types of expressions. We have talked about how are the instincts, what are the instincts, what are the various type of instincts. So with this particular lecture, I have completed meaning and expressions of emotions. I hope you have enjoyed this class. Thank you so much.